Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri, and is the world's first single barrel only liquor store. This business is owned and operated by Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution list. That way you'll know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and what barrel picks they have in the works. We are also sponsored by The Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers a fully customizable carrying case that allows you to take your favorite distilled spirits or cocktail ingredients with you. Whether you're looking for yourself, a customized gift, or logo items for your business or event, The Bar to Go can help. Check them out at thebar2go.com. Use the number 2 when you type out The Bar to Go. Did you know Neely Family Distillery now ships its popular distilled spirits directly to you? To order, simply call 859-394-3258. Tell them the ABV Network sent you. And now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we get an update on single malts from one of the biggest proponents and key players in recognizing single malts as a category, our very own Lenny Eckstein. My name is McNew. Please join me in welcoming my co-host, Steve Akeley, along with our special guests, Lenny Eckstein, Evan Van Scoik, and Kathy Poole.
Hey, gang, what's up?
Hey, guys.
Yo.
Hey.
I like how McNew referred to you as our very own Lenny Eckstein. So, you're ours, Lenny.
The contract.
You now belong to us. So, yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Cool. Well, we're going to be talking about single malts. I'll tell you what, the greatest American single malt ever produced is out there right now, Yellowstone. Whoa, my God, that thing is fantastic. If you guys haven't tried that one, run to the store and get one. I loved it. Man, I did. I love that.
I'm looking forward to checking that one out.
Yes.
I want to know more about it.
It is good. I got a... we're ordering through the shop. Jim and I we ordered some for the store, but we also ordered a case just for ourselves. We're splitting a case because we liked it. Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, very, very good. It just makes you excited for what's going on. Of course, we got some of the key players besides Yellowstone. We've got Jim Beam and Jack Daniels on board. So, I mean, this thing's happening pretty quick. So, should be fun, but we'll get some more about that after the break. For right now, McNew said there's something she wanted to talk about. What is that, McNew?
Yeah, so I don't know if this is a weird me thing or if other people do it, but do you guys ever go through these like phases where a food you never think about, it just becomes the best food in the world and you will have it like 3 days a week until you burn yourself out with it again? And then you don't think about it for another 6 months. Do you guys do that?
No.
Food? No, I don't think so.
Oh, maybe it's weird.
Kind of.
You just get infatuated with a food for a short time.
Well, it's not like infatuated.
I know.
Like Cadbury cream eggs?
No, so like
I'm on a little bit of a Deerberg sushi kick.
Oh yeah, grocery store sushi. It's way
right. I know it's not
gross.
even the best sushi.
No. Why would you do
but
that?
It's easy. It's easy and it's yummy-ish.
Okay.
I can run by and grab it and have dinner.
So like it's not the best, but it doesn't suck and it's easy. Like I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, interesting. I can't say I have this affliction. I mean, I'm afflicted with many things, but infatuated with a certain food for an amount of time, no. No. So happily, I'm not in on this one. Lenny, anything kale or something like that? You ever get?
I'm kind of like a I don't know what you would call it, like a habitual eater. Like I eat this almost the same thing every day. Like
of course,
there's
only like 3 things you eat. Even the stuff you should be eating. As a good vegan, you should be eating peanut butter. You don't even eat that. Yeah.
No, my diet consists of a mushroom cheese omelet every morning. Salad, sometimes with salmon in the afternoon. Usually with tin fish.
Tin fish. It's
like and then sometimes like the smoked trout in the can is a good one, or sardines. And then for dinner, it's always a piece of fish and vegetables. So sometimes I'll mix it up. Like I had tacos this afternoon, but I don't really infatuate.
Just crazy.
I know,
tacos.
crazy. The closest I get is
what the hell's in the taco if you're not
fish
having
tacos?
Fish, yeah.
Oh, fish tacos.
Yeah. You know, like the Deer Hammer.
That's too much fish, Lenny. There's a lot of lead in there. You'll be dead in a week.
Who, me?
Yeah, I'll be coming to your funeral. How sad will that be? You're living a life.
I thought it was mercury.
Why would I be dead?
Whatever it is, mercury. I meant. You know what I meant. I'll have to come to Lenny's funeral. It'll be sad. It'll be sad.
I'm going to be dead from eating healthy.
Yeah.
It's the canned fish he's worried about for you. It's the canned
I'll be
fish.
at Lenny's funeral. I'll be asking, what's the closest buffet around here? And yeah.
I do that too, though. Like I meal prep. I'll cook a bunch of chicken on the weekend and, just have chicken for lunch and dinner every night.
Okay.
And chop up some sweet potatoes and throw some air fried sweet potatoes on the plate. And that's just what I eat for the week.
Right.
Mine's so much more rotational. It's like, I'll get like Chick-fil-A one day a week. And it's like, I'll have an emo sandwich. The emo's extra special right before bowling on Tuesdays.
Evan, what does that mean?
What do you mean?
It's a local restaurant.
Word.
Emo's is a local restaurant.
Oh, got it.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. Sorry, that's like their like a basic 3-meat deli sandwich.
Okay, not an
turkey roast beef.
Sad emo sandwich. Like,
No, exactly.
and crying in our car while we eat it.
I knew what he meant. Again.
So I have two other St. Louis people here. They are on the same page.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yes, like of barbecue like once a week. I do that on like a rotating basis, so I never like go so hard on one particular thing. It's like, if you get it like once a week, you never really get tired of it.
All right. Well.
What? We live on a week-to-week basis. Every week, it's a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday. Every single week. Did you know that?
I
52
forgot.
times
I forgot we
a
were
year.
just talking about food. All right.
That's food.
All right.
Rotational.
Yes. McNew, you asked the question. What's this you're getting hooked on? That all of a sudden,
it happens like every 6 months or so where I just really freaking like baked potatoes. And I'm like, why? Like they're easy. They're good. And you can change them up. Like you can add cheese or chicken or barbecue sauce, whatever. So like today, one of my friends is like, what are you doing for dinner? I was like, I have to podcast. I think I'm just going to do a baked potato. And they were like, I haven't thought about baked potatoes in forever. And then I thought about it. I'm like, I've had 3 this week. Like, why is that a thing?
What I love is the baked potato and the salad are two things that are inherently good for you, but then they're just ruined by all the shit people put on them. I mean,
we're gonna pile all the worst things on them.
Yeah.
Potatoes are not good for you, Steve.
Well, compared to some things, I think
not really.
By themselves, yes.
I mean,
it's not a fried potato.
It's not a fried potato, Lenny. Yeah, it's a lot healthier.
Lenny's like, stop eating all those starches.
Yeah,
just saying.
Yeah, well, comparatively so. What about a salad?
Salad's very healthy.
It is not though. Because
it is as long as you don't put bullshit dressing.
Exactly, and other things.
But you can put
the best part of a salad.
Oh, here's the fried chicken salad. Oh yeah, well I'm eating healthy. I'll get the fried chicken salad. It's got
I'm down for that.
Of
3 types of cheese.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I'm eating healthy. Look at me. Yeah.
Butter soaked croutons.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So my point, Lenny, was not to debate whether or not the baked potato is the best food for you. It's the fact that people just make it.
We make it worse. We by far make it worse every time.
What if it's a baked sweet potato? Would that be any good, or is that a no-go?
Potato too.
I feel like it's better than what happens with the regular baked potato. Though you do add things like marshmallow on there and stuff like that, but it's still not as bad as what's going on with a baked potato and all bacon and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, fully loaded, just drenched in cheese. I don't do that, but
yeah, it happens though. It does. All right. On that note, it is time to drink. What is everyone drinking? Let's start with Evan this time. Evan, what do you got, man?
All right, I'm gonna do a Knob Creek single barrel.
Okay. We waited a long time for that, but it was a pretty good cork pop. I got to give him credit. So, yeah.
Is there an injury in there?
It was tight in there. I'm like squeezing as hard as I can to pull.
Oh my God. I'm going Yellowstone, and this is not the single malt though. This is just a barrel pick of Yellowstone. Here we go. Boy, I had to break the seal. Did you hear? I thought it was going to be a good cork pop. It was not. It was not. Evan's still got the lead. McNew's next.
Have some minor case.
Okay. Okay. No, nothing really going on there. Evan has the lead. Kathy, you're next.
I can't believe I'm the only one doing this.
Single malt.
Deer
Deer
Hammer.
Single malt. Oh,
You might
Single
know
malt
it.
whiskey.
ABV Barrel Shop.
ABV Barrel Shop.
Oh, there's the new lead too. There's the new lead. By the way, that single malt Lenny we have at the shop still. One of the greatest single malts of all time. It's up
Maybe
there.
second best.
Second best ever. Number one being Yellowstone. But number two is Lenny's. And number two is not bad, Lenny. There's been a lot of single malts
Not
created.
bad.
Yeah, yeah. All right. What do you got, buddy?
Going with the theme of I hate to beat my own bottle pops. I do have a Deer Hammer. The American single malt finished in port barrels, but it's a little lower fill. We'll see what it does. Hopefully, it doesn't beat Kathy's.
Oh,
It was good.
it was a good one. Nice echo in there too. I don't know what's going on with that echo, but I still say Kathy got it. So Kathy wins.
And
On that note,
2-2.
yeah. Cheers, gang.
Cheers.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to turn to Lenny and find out what's going on with single malts. We'll do that in just a few. Let's talk about the people who make these shows happen. First up is the ABV Barrel Shop. It is the most unique shopping experience in the world of bourbon, as the ABV Barrel Shop only sells single barrels. Owners Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot select. With over 100 distilleries on board to sell us barrels, we are home to the most unique and diverse barrel pick selections in the bourbon world. By signing up for our email, you will always know what we have in stock. In addition to the single barrels, we'll have a gift shop featuring ABV Barrel Shop as well as ABV Network merchandise. We are partnering with vendors like Art Eatables and Old Man Bay Signs to bring you unique items you can't find anywhere else. We will also have a 24-seat classroom where we are offering educational and fun classes like Breakfast and Bourbon, a series where we pair donuts and bourbon, customer barrel picks, and opportunities to learn from master distillers and other bourbon dignitaries. Best of all, we feature a tasting bar where you can try before you buy. All of this is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. If you are in the St. Louis area, please stop by to say hi. If you're traveling in from outside the area, please take advantage of our hotel rates with the Drury Inn and Pear Tree Inn, less than a mile from our shop. This can be done via the links in our Visit St. Louis section on our website. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to plan your trip. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. Hi, this is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network. We're sponsored by the Stave and Thief Society. This is where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge a bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my Executive Bourbon Steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification program available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Okay, let's talk about the Neely Family Distillery. In 2018, I met Royce Neely at an industry event. He started appearing on our shows, and we became friends during my frequent trips to Kentucky. Today, he is amongst the leaders of young distillers leaving their mark on the bourbon industry. A visit to Neely Family Distillery yields insight on their unique family history, why their products are special, and gives you the opportunity to taste their whiskey, moonshine, and creams. Check them out at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com or visit them in Sparta, Kentucky.
This is BR 549, and you're listening to the Bourbon Daily.
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we're talking single malts with Lenny Eckstein.
Yes, we are. So single malt is a pretty common term in American whiskey, but it's not officially defined as of right now. They're working on that. Lenny, what's the status update on that at the moment?
Well, yeah, to your point, the government's working on it. It is, I believe, it's in the public comment period, which seems like an inevitability to what all the producers and a lot of folks want to happen, which is, the TTB pencils in a new official category for it. And We do. A lot of us do think that's going to happen in 2023. It's moving ahead. Public comments are submitted or being submitted. So that's a kind of a big deal in a sense. I think, there've been some liberties granted, which is kind of cool to some distilleries to produce what they'll refer to as an American single malt that might or might not conform to the standards that are being put out there. So it's always nice to have things kind of constrained a bit so we can know what we're talking about. There's a ton of producers, big and small. I mean, at Deerhammer, we're pretty proud that we're the first Colorado distillery to come out with an American single malt. But, there's a lot of creativity going along. There are a lot of distilleries focusing on the malt barley itself as the grain driver. I think that's very cool. We're seeing some new varietals coming out, people working on growing different strains, really coming out with different flavors.
So you guys were first. What did Stranahan's have when they came out?
Great question. So they were making what would be considered an American single malt before us, but they didn't. I would say they didn't have the faith that Deerhammer had, where they just called it a Colorado whiskey.
Okay.
And we were. I should clarify, we were the first American single malt label out of Colorado.
Okay. I do know that they were ahead of you because you talked about your inspiration for starting your company was you tasted a product from them at one point, and you're like, yeah, this is great, and I can't believe they made this, and it is cool. So yeah,
well, I think I was, to your point, big fan of what they did do and will do. I love that company, and they were definitely a big inspiration. But at the time when we came out with an American single malt, we weren't the first in the country. There were obviously a bunch doing it. Westland started at the same time. There were a bunch of others. But it was a bunch of folks, and there were a small handful of us that had this idea that it made sense. And maybe the reason why, everybody's heard of Scotch, single malt made in Scotland that conforms to their government standards. There's Irish single malt. There's, the Indian single malt. There's Australian, Japanese. So when
Canadian.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of countries have a designation for a single malt, and folks would say to me like, well, there is no American single malt. I'm like, ye of little faith. Why the fuck not? Like, of course there can be and should be and will be. So it's moving forward. I mean, that's a really cool thing. And, Steve, there's been discussion that we've had, and like a lot of folks are kind of up on the fact that American single malt doesn't require the use of charred new oak. And that's something that, at Deerhammer, we've always done new oak. But, we talk about the barrel shortage because folks at distilleries are having a hard time getting barrels. We're not talking about the fact that, are we running into an oak tree shortage or a logging or a stave cutting shortage? So the fact that we can use used oak is a cool thing. And I think, we might shift to a portion of our production being used oak.
What is the wording on that's in there right now? I know this isn't official yet, but does it state it has to be used oak, or does it state it can be used oak?
Nope. It can be used oak. It's, I guess the verbiage that refers to the maturation is matured in oak casks of capacity not exceeding 700 liters. Oak casks not designated as charred new oak, used oak, toasted oak. It's very open there. And while I was initially a proponent of let's keep it charred new oak, because that's what American whiskey is, be it bourbon or rye or a wheat whiskey, other than corn whiskey or just the generic American whiskey, it all has to be charred new oak. But, I'm starting to wonder if that is problematic in itself. And I am glad that there's a little bit of opportunity.
I think what it does, Lenny, allowing it to use, used cooperage, is it opens it up where everyone probably wants it, because you can make a very viable product with the second use of that barrel. I mean, if you think about it now, what can you make? You can make corn whiskey or something, but that ends up being a lower price product. This one can sell for the same amount, if not more, than the bourbon that you're making in it or the rye that you're making in it. So yeah, I think it opens it up to some real possibilities that everyone wants to be in the game, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, here's something that I find really interesting about that, though. It's not necessarily you can just jump on board without any issue. The equipment, like a cereal cooker to make bourbon or rye, might not necessarily work for American single malt, because single malt is traditionally lautered, which is straining the liquid from the grain, and it gives it a flavor in that manner. Whereas if you cook the barley in there, you can do that, but it's a different flavor profile. And some folks are a little gun shy on putting that into production without knowing, the quality that they'll come with. So, big distilleries, is it a big deal to put in like a 1,000-gallon capacity mash tun that can strain out the liquid from solid? Maybe not, but it's not necessarily there for everyone. That's why I was curious about the Yellowstone. I wonder what they're doing on that.
Yeah, I don't know. What I think is curious, and I just had a conversation with somebody at Heaven Hill, pretty high up there, and this individual said, "No way, we're not doing single malts and all that. It's we may get it down the road." And I said, "Well, what about the fact that Beam is doing one, and Jack Daniels is doing one, and now Yellowstone, which falls more in the kind of the mid, but they're certainly a big enough player. They have nationwide distribution." And that individual then admitted that does make a difference. Yes. When everyone else starts doing it, that's going to drive it more so than, we can do it now. We should be doing it. No, but when everyone else is doing it, then I have to do it too. So he said that may drive it more than anything else, is the fact that the big guys are kind of getting on board here.
I get that. Another facet of it that I find pretty fascinating is, when I go to, a whiskey festival and I'm pouring maybe our condensed lineup where it's just our American single malt, our bourbon, our rye, I can almost guess who's going to go for it. But we live in this relative bourbon bubble that to us, it's everything. Obviously to me, there's other things out there, but there are a lot of people who would walk up to a bar and order scotch or they would just say single malt. And whether it's single malt that originates from Scotland or a single malt that originates in their own home state or somewhere else in the country, there is a huge segment of whiskey enthusiasts who go first for single malt, and bourbon might be too sweet for them. It's just not their thing. And I think we ignore that a lot, but there's a huge demographic that's right.
Yes, I can see, I've seen it myself. You being out there pouring and educating people about this. We got the Barrel Shop, and we probably have 6 loyal customers that come in because you were here in St. Louis pouring, and I think that's a lot. You might think, well, 6, who cares? I saw 100. No, I've people that come in and identify themselves as having met you at one event, which, by the way, I've heard of no one else come into the shop from that same event. So it's only been you that made an impact, and we had product from other people that were there.
Yeah. Only distiller to forge a knife and gift it to the shop.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of firsts there. So, but it is about tasting it and educating, and I think it's going to start happening. So it's cool, man.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, and I'm really I love doing it, but I'm probably the most excited about the players that have been involved and the players that are getting involved, and what kind of flavors and awesome things we're going to get to sip on upcoming.
Yeah. Well, on that note, we'll wrap this one up as we continue to watch what happens. Do we have any idea time frame when this might all be done and in place, Lenny?
Well, I mean, if bets are happening, I'm putting my chips on December 2023.
Okay, all right.
I don't know that anyone's weighed in with more accurate information, though.
Okay, all right. Well, that's what we're going to bank it and say it's going to get done this year, because Lenny said so. There's some scoop for you, folks. So there you go. We'll wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Kathy, we'll start with you. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at KK Cask Strength.
All right, Evan.
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook or Instagram, Wit Wisdom Whiskey.
Lenny.
You can find me and the rest of Deerhammer on social media at Deerhammer, on the webs at deerhammer.com. You can come visit us in beautiful Buena Vista, Colorado, and sip on some single malt.
McNew.
I'm on Instagram at McNew ABV.
For me, I'm an easy guy to find. I'm at Steve Akeley on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website. That thing's abvnetwork.com. Check it out, because everything that we do is out there. Previous shows, blogs, so much more, abvnetwork.com. And come by and see us at the ABV Barrel Shop, where we have Lenny's products on hand. As soon as you walk in the door, there is a wall o Deerhammer. Check us out at abvbarrelshop.com. McNew, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I would like to remind the audience to please give us a 5-star review. That includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. And if you like what we're doing, we ask that you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theABVNetwork.
Great job today, gang. For audience, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Cheers.
Peace. Before we finish the show, let's talk about some great companies that support the ABV network. First up is Moonshine Still Pro. Moonshine Still Pro has a full line of products to help the home distiller. Whether you want to experiment on the stove in your kitchen or you're looking for a bigger setup in your backyard, owner Russell Creed and his team can help. They have multiple still offerings, accessories, and even grain from their partners at Goldstone Mill to assist you in making whiskey on par with your favorite distillery. They can also help you with some fabricated parts you probably can't make yourself if you are attempting a DIY still project. Learn more or order your still or parts at moonshinestillpro.com. Last but not least is the ABV Barrel Shop. While we don't get to play in the allocated bourbon game because we aren't selling the other products you have to do to get those, we do have access via our friendships in the bourbon industry to some really cool stuff. Have you ever seen your favorite craft distiller selling some really cool limited offerings only in their gift shop? I'm talking things like the hazmat offering Distillery 291 did for their 10th anniversary, or Neely Family Distillery's Papaw's birthday barrel. They don't have enough of it to send it out to distributors, so they only sell it via their gift shop. Well, companies like Distillery 291 and Neely Family Distillery have agreed to sell us 2 or 3 cases of these offerings moving forward, meaning our store will have the access to some of the rarest whiskeys in the world. Way more difficult to come by than the allocated bourbon offerings with a national release. Yes, they will be extremely tough to come by, but if you're a customer of our store, you'll have a chance to get them. Get signed up for our email or text list over at abvbarrelshop.com so you don't miss out.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.